when we talk about the Steelers offense. Come on, do something.
Poke it with a stick.
Right. All right, here we go.
You got a team, here's a word of the wise. You want to dominate your league? Go to Footballguys.
Football, I'm living in a fantasy. Football, got everybody mad at me. Football, cause every game I had to win. Football, I gotta be a champion. Football, I'm living in a fantasy.
You got to be a champion. We've got to be a champion, and we've got to talk to you about the second slate of games in Week 14 of the National Football League 2022 season. It is Baltimore. It is the Steelers. It is Tyler Huntley, not Lamar Jackson, which may not make much of a difference, Bloom, especially given the way that Baltimore will want to play. The difference will be, can the Steelers kind of rattle the young man, the young pastor, and Tyler Huntley, best recommended as a QB2, obviously has quarterback one upside because of the legs.
Yeah, is Mike Tomlin maybe doing a little Bill Belichick here, Cease? When he's saying, oh, he's going to be better than he was last year. What happened last year when the Steelers played Tyler Huntley? They beat him. They went to the playoffs because of it. They won the 16-13, the final game of the season.
Yeah,
and
thanks
Tyler
for
Huntley,
that.
Yeah. Kenny Pickett, your parting gift is Kenny Pickett. So I wonder, because they handled Tyler Huntley pretty well in that game. Huntley had 2 interceptions, he run for like 70 yards. I mean, the big question here is, am I going to pick up Tyler Huntley and play him right away? I'm going to recommend you don't do that, because it's Steelers, Ravens, and see, for the whole time that we've been doing this show, even as the personnel has changed on both sides of the ball, Steelers Ravens is a war.
Yes.
Steelers Ravens is a game you measure by how many players get injured. And in some ways, I know that people like X's and O's and strategy and things like that, Cease, but in some ways, if you wanted to show somebody that what's a professional football, what's a professional American football, you'd show them a Ravens Steelers game. You'd say,
Yes.
it's this. This is what it is, right? So it's not going to be conducive to offense. It's not going to be conducive to fantasy production. I don't think for one Tyler Huntley either. Maybe even you might want to play with the Steelers defense at home. Steelers are still thinking about, well, we're not dead in the playoff hunt yet. There's no running back you want. If J.K. Dobbins is back, all that does is complicate things. The running game is not on track. Greg Roman. Cease, I did this great show with, his name's Ken McCusick. Fantastic Baltimore film study. He does this, a Know Your Foe every week, an episode. And I was honored to represent the Steelers. And the two teams are, offensively at a similar point where you're saying, well, how good is this offense? How do we know with this offensive coordinator? Right? There's so many potential points of failure, and the offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, is where a lot of it intersects. So, yeah, you're going to play Mark Andrews, but unlike last year when Tyler Huntley really supercharged Mark Andrews' value, it was Demarcus Robinson. It was Devin Duvernay getting all these short dink and dunk passes from Tyler Huntley. So we will probably see that same dink and dunk passing game, field goals, game that turns maybe on turnovers or a special team play, very close to the vest, very physical. The kind of game the Steelers can win.
Yes, the kind of game that they'll be in. And I guess Najee Harris must have learned from Big Ben. Did he? Because I can't figure out Najee. Like, he's really banged up. He's really hurt. They might use Jaylen Warren. He gets everything. Jaylen Warren gets like 3 touches. It's like, what's the deal with Najee Harris? I feel like, what's the deal? Old TV situation for Najee Harris. Hey, what's the deal with Najee Harris? Now to our consumer reporter, Sigmund Bloom.
Yeah, right. I'm 7 on your side. Well, I mean, we're up in our fantasies, our local TV fantasies, because if there's no fantasy production in this game, you are going to play Najee Harris, who looked pretty good, and the Steelers can run the ball. Whoa! I was again doing this show with Ken yesterday. This is like the Bill Cowher Steelers, right? We're looking at the Bill Cowher Pittsburgh Steelers, where you're going to run the ball, you're going to play good defense. If you can stop us, if you can beat us, good for you. So Najee Harris is going to be the point of the spear, and that means passing game wise, the Ravens secondary is back, at least at the first and second corner. So you're probably not going to play George Pickens. It's not Kenny Pickett. We know that George Pickens can make plays when he's covered. He's open, he's not open, right? But in this kind of game, I would guess that Kenny Pickett has a very strict order. Don't turn the ball over. Just don't turn the ball over, and we can win this game. So I don't think you're going to take any chances downfield to George Pickens. Even Deontay Johnson, we're waiting for something. I don't think this is going to be the game. He's safe in that he'll give you 8 or 9 PPR points, but not a lot more than that. Pat Freiermuth. That's the guy. I mean, if you're going to play someone from this passing game, but again, not a game that's going to be great for fantasy, but a game that's going to have a lot of intensity, violence, a game for the Steelers to stay alive, and a game for the Ravens, not necessarily to stay alive. They can probably still get into the playoffs, stubbing their toe on this game. They do still play the Steelers again. But certainly a game that it's going to make them feel that adrenaline without Lamar Jackson out there. We saw what happened when Jackson went out last year.
Do we have to talk about Chiefs Broncos? I mean, I guess we do. Maybe we don't. I don't know who runs the show.
Right? You're in charge.
Am I?
It's a statement. We're making a statement. We're skipping the game. No.
Yeah, it's Chiefs, it's Broncos up next. And it's like, okay, well, the Chiefs side at least is start everybody. McKinnon, is he sleeper of the week? Sleeper. Like, oh my God, Pacheco, the guy the Broncos should have drafted, he'll run roughshod. Travis Kelce will dominate. So basically, if they're wearing a Chiefs uniform, you want to play them. Bloom, the question then becomes, if it becomes too easy to beat up on the Broncos, I'm not saying KC calls the dogs off, but do they just kind of coast in this one?
Yeah, like they did against the
scoring,
Rams.
offense scoring.
Right.
Yeah,
Right, like they did against the Rams.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I would go as far as to say play all your Chiefs, obviously Mahomes and Kelce. And I think it's Pacheco. I think Pacheco's the guy. I think that you're looking at him as a strong running back too. And again, look at that Rams game. I don't remember how many carries he got, north of 20. And I think you would expect that here. He's arrived. And Mahomes, you're going to play. See, the history of Patrick Mahomes against the Broncos, mixed. It's not like, oh, Mahomes against the Broncos in Denver. Yeah, he's going to light them up. Denver's defense. And look, whatever happened with Denver as a team this year, the defense didn't get that memo. The defense is still playing playoff level football, right? This is a playoff quality defense. True or false?
This is their first test. With Bradley Chubb, true. Without him, false.
Okay. Well, so
yeah,
we'll see.
It's been a big difference without Bradley Chubb. They can't
That's
stop
fair.
the run. They can't set the edge. Pat Surtain's getting worked by everybody. Like,
right.
And
right.
Tyler Huntley was not afraid of Pat Surtain last week.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
all these things, good things to think about. And with the passing game, the other problem is Kadarius Toney might be back this week. So let's just complicate this even further.
Right.
Juju's not hot. Marquez Valdes-Scantling catches a few passes. You still have Sky Moore when they decide what they want to do with him. So there's not a reliable play in this passing game. And like you said, Cease, they might call off the dogs if they get up by 2 scores. So this isn't going to be a shootout. The other thing to think about here, Kansas City's not the number 1 seed anymore. So they can't afford to mess up anything. So this is an important game for them. Is this Denver Super Bowl, Cease?
Yes, it is. And the players will be up for it. And the coaches will be like, I don't know. Listen to Nathaniel Hackett's press conference yesterday.
Super Bowl? What's that?
When asked about the 13-game losing streak to the Chiefs, like, well, I wasn't here for that. We ain't going to be here for the next one either.
Ooh.
And maybe even the next one remaining this season. Because we get Broncos Chiefs again. But either way, Broncos side, I don't know. Like, whatever. It's Jerry Jeudy, right? Used to be Cortland and the kids. Our friend Mike Kliss would say that. It's Cortland and the kids. Well, now it's Jerry and the kids. Jerry's a kid himself.
Right.
So
Jerry's
Greg
kids.
Dulcich, maybe, and you're not even hoping for garbage time. They can't score 18 points. They can't even score 14. They can't even score 10 last week against Baltimore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, these are not the fantasy players you're looking for.
No, Greg Dulcich, I think, is the one guy you can play here with the beautiful hair. And Latavius Murray, Jerry Jeudy could come through. Russell Wilson. I was trying to come up with some sort of snappy Russell Wilson stat this morning, just to show how rough it's been. His fantasy value has been basically the same as Ryan Tannehill. His fantasy value has been the same as quarterbacks that we weren't drafting. Just to put a little point on it. But I can't even dunk on Russell Wilson anymore. And that's the thing, Cease. If this is their Super Bowl, does that mean it's just going to be another reason to be depressed at the end of the day that in their Super Bowl they got beat 33-3?
Right. Yeah, this first big test offensively, and they'll likely fail, as they often do. Let's talk about Buccaneers in San Francisco. Let's talk about Tom Brady in San Francisco. Oh, wait, no, this week, not next year. Yeah, next year. Yeah. But Buccaneers and 49ers, Brady's going to get angry. He's got to get angry. You got to get mean. He's like Patches O'Houlihan out there. So, okay. You've got your normal Buccaneers receivers that you go to. This is kind of standard what you do. I think Cade Otton, tight end 2. I've seen people go overboard. I know tight end's desperate, but okay, yeah, whatever. And then the backfield, which kind of remains tricky, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Buccaneers and the 49ers on Sunday.
I'm going to tell a little sad story, Cease, about the Saints and Saints fans. I'm down
Okay.
here in New Orleans. You all watch the game Monday. We don't do Monday recaps, but in some ways, we couldn't have scripted that game more to history and perfection. 16-3, Jarvis Landry doesn't catch a touchdown that maybe could have made this easier. Dennis Allen won't go for it on 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 when he's tied or in the lead.
Mhm.
And it leaves just enough of an opening for Tom Brady to come back against a tired defense. Make the whole plane out of the black box. Just run the 2-minute offense the whole game, right? And the Saints lose. Because if the Saints had won, then Tampa would need to win this game to stay out of a first-place tie with them. Atlanta says, well, what about us? Because here's the thing. Atlanta and Tampa play in the last game of the year, and Atlanta's off this week. If Tampa loses this game, Atlanta will be a game ahead. Tampa will be a game ahead of Atlanta, but Atlanta has New Orleans, Baltimore, and Arizona left. Tampa still has to play Cincinnati and Arizona and Carolina. But my point is, even though we're saying, well, yeah, Tom Brady's going to be in the playoffs, host a playoff game, maybe upset somebody or otherwise, it's Tom Brady. You never know. Nothing is assured for this Tampa team. And so this game is a game you probably pencil in as an L. If they can get a W, that will help them breathe easier. Rachaad White, Leonard Fournette, we can see it's going to be that same split, even though Rachaad White has a little more to offer in terms of juice. They're both, what the heck, running back to flex plays and PPR leagues, especially. Godwin is the play over Evans. Evans is more of a wide receiver 3 at this point. Like you said, Cade Otton. Let's watch Cameron Brate, who was a surprise scratch with an illness. I think didn't practice early this week so far. Really, you wonder, is San Francisco defense the play here against a limited offense, and an offense that still should be having to come from behind, because even with Brock Purdy, this is a pretty scary San Francisco offense.
It's a scary San Francisco offense, Bloom, because they've been covering for the quarterback for ever.
The structure of the offense is to make the quarterback play. It just execute. You don't have to add anything. Just execute.
Yes. The structure of the offense, and talking to a San Francisco coach yesterday, the structure of the offense is to make the quarterback the least critical piece of that offense. So it's Brock Purdy. It's interesting. He's not a good quarterback, but Nick Mullins could run this system, right? And pretty soon we'll see Josh Johnson out there, maybe. Like, okay, so with Purdy out there, what does it say for the rest of the team? And, how much do you drop the stock of a Brandon Ayuk or a Deebo Samuel? Although Deebo can always be beneficial or benefit from those rushing attempts, Bloom. But this isn't fall off a cliff 49ers. No. I'm not projecting that. I don't believe Kyle Shanahan will produce that either.
No, I think that this offense is going to be just fine. Now, for fantasy, how does that translate? Purdy is a quarterback 2 super flex for sure, because he's going to get the benefit. Think about this. If you play Brock Purdy, then everything Samuel and Kittle and McCaffrey do after the catch gets credited to you. And this is against the Tampa Bay defense that is suspect. They can stop the run, but they're suspect in the secondary, and those plays are going to work to perfection. So Christian McCaffrey, could it be that Purdy being in is good for him? What do we see when McCaffrey plays with mediocre quarterbacks? They're smart. They want to keep their job. They're going to dump the ball down to him a lot. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get 8, 9, 10 receptions in this game. Jordan Mason, maybe not so much, because his ability running inside, powerful running, Tampa Bay can counteract that. In terms of fantasy priorities, like you said, Deebo Samuel can help in the running game. So Samuel is the safest play out of the passing targets. And George Kittle, you're going to play anyway, unless you have a Andrews, maybe a Hawkinson, obviously a Kelsey. Otherwise, you're playing Kittle. And then Ayuk, that's the one where you wonder, just because you're not necessarily going to take as many chances throwing downfield. And if San Francisco can open up a lead, if their defense, which has returned to form, we've seen this in a couple of cases. Detroit's offense, I think, is the best other one ceased to cite, where when we see something in the first few weeks, and like exceptional levels of play from a unit, and then we see them drop off because of injuries, make sure to keep your mind open that they can return to that form before the season is over. And in this case, that can affect how aggressive San Francisco is going to be on offense. And San Francisco, someone brought up Nick Foles. I said the Super Bowl dream is over. Nick Foles, well, Jimmy Garoppolo could be back for the playoffs, so maybe the Super Bowl dream isn't over.
Maybe they can cover for another quarterback.
Right.
Carolina and Seattle is our next game up, Bloom. And the Carolina one's like super interesting now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Denver's everyone's get right game. A little bye week, right? A little relax. Okay, Sam Darnold, we're getting rid of Baker Mayfield, get rid of the dead weight. And now with Sam Darnold, okay, DJ Moore, even juicier. Dante Foreman, juicier, right? Get Seattle, and Seattle's got their own issues we'll talk about in just a little bit. How interested are you to see what Carolina could do after their bye?
It's always interesting, right? There's always context. Sam Darnold trying to make some money, trying to win a starting spot somewhere next year. Dante Foreman misses practice first day out of the bye. So he said he was 95% sure he was going to play. Players always inflate those numbers. I'm citing Dr. Gene Bramwell here. By the way, Cecil, I got a note in Twitter that said, did anything happen to Dr. Gene? Is he okay? You guys talk about him like something happened. Nothing happened to Dr. Gene. I just want to remind anybody.
He's super busy. Great. By the way, talked to Matt Waldman yesterday, and we are going to do one final show with all four of us. Yeah. We'll probably do it in the spring. Matt and I were trying to determine the best time, but it'll be all four of us. It will be 2 hours, and it will be madness.
Yeah, it'll be special. It'll be special because of the time that we all got to spend together. It was really special for us, and I think at least for some of you out there, you shared in the goodness, shared in the joy. Not a lot of joy for Carolina this year, but for Dante Foreman, he's restoring his value to the NFL, to fantasy teams this week. We'll see. I guess that would make Chuba Hubbard a deep what the heck flex. Again, as Dr. Gene said, they inflate those numbers. So if Foreman's saying 95%, I don't know what the answer is, maybe close to 70 or 80%, whatever. It's not his decision anyway. And then you have DJ Moore. And we did see Sam Darnold get DJ Moore's value out of the gutter whenever he came in. Now, this week, some guy named Tariq Woolen is going to be probably matched up with DJ Moore, which might not be a great matchup for Woolen. Remember, Woolen's longer, faster in a straight line. DJ Moore can operate in the phone booth.
But Woolen also tricks quarterbacks. He's like, he's open, and then he's got that recovery speed.
That recovery speed and the
it's
length.
4.2. It's 6'4", 4.2. Why the hell would you want Delarian Turner yell? Broncos pick right before Tariq Woolen. And I know I've talked to my man, Andrew Mason, who I love, but he's like, he doesn't know what he's doing. I'm like, I don't care. He's 6'4", and he runs a 4.2.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, you can see exactly how that translates. There was a play last week whenever he was beat. He was beat by like 7 or 8 yards when the ball was thrown. And he was able to catch up and put that long arm out.
It's like turbo, man.
Yeah, it's really fun to watch him. So we'll see. So there are interesting things. It's more interesting to see if Seattle is actually going to take this thing to the playoffs. Speaking about making money, Geno Smith, he's made some money.
Geno Smith making that money. Who's playing running back? It's my main question for Seattle. It's like, okay, there's illness and jammed ankles, all right? Like, what the hell's a jammed ankle, Pete Carroll? Yeah. The backfield is the mess. And then Geno in the passing game, well, you can rely on him a little bit more. Geno Smith, a top 10 fantasy quarterback this week. Yep.
Yeah, he's been a top 10 fantasy quarterback all year. Why not this week? Well, maybe Carolina's defense. They're underrated. They've got a lot of investment in the secondary, etc. But Geno Smith is still a solid play because of the lack of backfield options. Is this where Homer's Odyssey ends in our lineups? He's the healthiest running back. So maybe he can catch passes out of the backfield. He's looked pretty good when he gets touches. He just doesn't get many. This is something we're going to have to watch right up until game time. And again, this is a late game. So Travis Homer is more of a true what the heck flex and could be one that really hits. But it's going to be Geno to Tyler Lockett, who's still awesome. It's going to be, Tyler Lockett's going to be one of those players that he's never going to make the Hall of Fame, right? But people are going to say, should he be in the Hall of Fame? Because he played. Remember how serious the leg injury he had was early in his career?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't think any other player that we've seen has suffered that severe of a leg injury in the sense that when it happened, you almost thought, is he even going to play again? It was like a Marcus Lattimore kind of injury when it happened, Mm-hmm. And look at the level that he's gotten back to and stayed, even without Russell Wilson. Maybe Noah Fant. Noah Fant making some plays last week. If they're going to be passing more, that gives more ways for Noah Fant to hit. And just don't blow this, Seattle.
Right.
This is a game, if you can beat teams like Carolina, you can get to the playoffs. They have San Francisco next week, Kansas City the week after that, the Jets the week after that. So it's really important to win this game because otherwise you're looking at a slide that could end out of the playoffs.
Slide, Bobo, slide. And I'd rather have Noah Fant than Kate Otten. That's just me, Bloom. Let's talk Miami and the Chargers. That is our next game up in the Miami side. First, get back on track. Tua stay healthy and don't cough up the ball. The Chargers choke, so the Dolphins should have the advantage there.
Yeah. This is a game, so I'm just going to get a little misty-eyed. Remember, where it all started for me with football was that Dolphins-Chargers game. The first moment when I was just captivated by football. I think I was 6 or 7 years old. Kellen Winslow. Instead of the national anthem, somebody should write a song about that game, and that's what they should sing before football games, The hook and ladder. There was a hook and ladder play right before halftime. Usually the hook and ladder is like last play of the game. The Dolphins knew they needed to get that stuff out in the first half. So go back and check out that game, youngins. It's been over 40 years now. The rematch. Yes, Tua to Hill. Tua to Waddle. Waddle's a little banged up. Waddle might be coal in your stocking because he was not productive last week. Now that's San Francisco's defense, but still. So it's Trent Sherfield, a deep what the heck flex, a little easier matchup. He had that 75-yard touchdown to open things last week. Raheem Mostert, he could get hurt on the first play, but it's the Chargers who could also have 20 carries for 200 yards in this game if he can get to 20 carries. Maybe even Jeff Wilson's a deep what the heck flex. This is a good test for Mike McDaniel, right? You got Tua and Hill and Waddle, but you're facing the Chargers. Why not run the ball 40 times, right? They can't get off the field.
Right.
So, and can Miami's defense slow down Justin Herbert? So good test. Mike McDaniel, here's your puzzle. It's not the final exam yet, but it's a test. What kind of grade is he going to get? How's he going to solve it?
And is Sean Payton going to be coaching Justin Herbert next year? Sean Payton will be in the AFC West. Won't be with Denver. Chargers side, it's like, okay, the talent, yes, we already know everybody. Mike Williams is practicing. I guess that's the lone thing that's different, right? Okay, so what's that do for Josh Palmer or DeAndre Carter? Are they sleepers of the week? Well, it depends on if Mike Williams plays, but I'm not trusting Mike Williams if he plays. Like, he'll play a snap or two. He'll play 7 snaps, get 1 target, maybe a catch for like 11 yards. So, okay, Chargers, here we go. Just don't choke. Brandon Staley is choking his job away.
Yeah. Sad, but maybe you got too much too fast, Brandon Staley, and maybe it's that second job. You're going to play. You love the whole outlook for the Chargers offense: Herbert, Eckler, Keenan Allen, who's returned to form, and probably Josh Palmer. Here's my game plan for the Chargers: play Mike Williams because just let him cancel out Xavier Howard. So you talk about chess pieces. Here's a trade I would make on a chessboard. I'll take your Xavier Howard and my Mike Williams and put both pieces just off the board. And then let's play the game without them. I think that would be just fine. So you're right. If Mike Williams is active, don't play him. But that could actually be a tactical advantage for the Chargers to open things up for Josh Palmer, not DeAndre Carter. And of course, Gerald Everett, who has really rehabilitated his value. We're finally seeing all the talent he has, all the physical talent he has. He was a 2nd-round pick for the Rams back in the day for Sean McVay. I think it was his first pick. Then you have a good tight end option also. And this team isn't dead. See, what's going to make the playoffs in the AFC? 10-7. 10-7 will probably get you in.
Should be, yeah.
Probably. They're 6-6. And after this, Tennessee, Indy, the Rams, and Denver. So this is arguably their toughest game left. Although Tennessee with Derrick Henry and their run defense, maybe you'd argue that. But after these 2 games, this week and next week against Tennessee, it's the Chargers, they should be able to win the next 3. So you win one of these 2, you have a good chance to get to the playoffs. I want to see Justin Herbert in the playoffs. I think everyone should.
Everyone should, but will we? That's the question. Monday Night Football is New England Patriots and Arizona Cardinals. And, well, Mac Jones hanging on to his job for now. Yes, it's not really exciting other than Ramondre Stevenson, Bloom. Convince me otherwise. Prove me wrong, right? I'm not starting any Patriots other than Ramondre Stevenson. Prove me wrong. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, certainly the word exciting should never be in the same sentence with the offense of the Patriots. So Mac attack. Well, will Mac be attacked? Will Mac finish this game? Do the Patriots have clarity on this at this point? Now, the other thing that might add,
They do, but will they listen to it?
Sure. Mac Jones visibly upset about the short passing offense, right?
Right.
How's that going to sit with Bill Belichick? Do you think Bill Belichick likes seeing those clips? Go ahead.
No, not at all.
No, no. So we'll see. We'll see. So Mac Jones is a dicey play, although it's Arizona's pass defense. We're going to watch coming out of their bye if Byron Murphy can play. Their pass defense with Byron Murphy, good. Without Byron Murphy, very vulnerable. Excited? No, you're going to play Ramondre Stevenson because of the PPR value. We're going to see if Damian Harris can get back out there. Excited to play Jacoby Myers? Probably not. Not excited to, but I do think if he's okay on the injury report, you're going to see him get a lot of catches, especially if Bailey Zappi gets back out on the field. And if Arizona has a good offensive game. So generally, if my brain Swiss cheese, generally dual threat quarterbacks give problems to the Bill Belichick defense. Yes.
Yes.
Justin Fields beat him 33-14, right? I mean, Justin Fields humiliated, and that was before Justin Fields had become, oh my God, Justin Fields. That was kind of the game that we had our minds open to. Justin Fields might become something this year because we thought with Belichick, he's going to checkmate him. No, Belichick, this defense struggles with mobile quarterbacks. So if Arizona at home can build a lead, then you're going to see more passing. I think that's good for Jacoby Myers, but not anybody else. I mean, you might see a Devontae Parker hit or a Kendrick Bourne or a Nelson Aguilar or even a Hunter Henry, but I don't think it's going to happen. So, yeah, I think with the Patriots, and they're not dead yet either. They can still make the playoffs also, but I think that this is a team. It's weird. They might still be in the playoff seats, but they've got major questions at quarterback, and it's much more important to figure that out. Like you said, act on the clarity they should have instead of trying to make the playoffs.
All right. Oh, sleeper of the week. Hey,
oh, Arizona.
Everybody.
And the
Arizona
side.
Arizona side. Sorry.
No. It's fine. Arizona's 4-8. I mean, they could win out and somehow sneak into the playoffs, but it's probably over. I mean, we continue to see just disappointment after disappointment of the Keim, Kingsbury, Kyler, Arizona Cardinals.
John Robinson gets blown out, and Steve Keim still has a job.
So from a fantasy standpoint, like I said, you like Kyler Murray, dual threat quarterback against a Bill Belichick defense. You like James Conner, rested, and they're willing to give him a ton of work. You like DeAndre Hopkins, he's going to get a lot of targets. You like Marquise Brown. And I think that's the biggest thing for fantasy we're watching Monday night is what do we have in Marquise Brown? Do we have like a boom bust wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 flex type? Or is he going to become, remember, we saw instant chemistry because they played together between Murray and Brown, and we saw instant chemistry between Murray and Hopkins. How does that work out? Are they both good plays? Did they make Kyler Murray a great play? Is there one that's going to be favored? We're going to watch that. Watch this okay game on Monday night.
Okay, on Monday night. And we certainly appreciate everyone out there. And now I got to do our ever popular, everyone's been waiting for it, absolutely phenomenal sleeper of the week.
It's time for the Sleeper of the Week, powered by Sleeper.
All right, Bloom, sleeper of the week. Notice I won't have any Broncos, but I will have Chiefs. I think Jerick McKinnon. I agree with you on Pacheco. I think Pacheco tears him up, but then McKinnon as a receiving back, Broncos linebackers aren't going to cover Travis Kelce, and they're not going to recover receiving backs. And that's Jerick McKinnon, my Week 14, Part 2, sleeper of the week. Bloom, who you got?
Sleepers of the week, a running back, both Jets running backs, but Zonovan Knight, I almost feel like the Jets are trying to tell us something solid, saying, oh, Zonovan Knight's not going anywhere. Raheem Mostert, Samaje Perine, I can never top your Samaje Perine call when he had 3 touchdowns going into the game as the backup. Travis Homer, Malik Davis, we talked about Part 1. Kareem Hunt, just because doesn't make sense that if Cincinnati jumps out to a lead, that Deshaun Watson's going to dump the ball off to Kareem Hunt a lot. Wide receivers, some sleepers of the week, Trent Sherfield, Isaiah McKenzie, Jacoby Myers, Josh Palmer, DJ Shark, Baby Shark. As that Lions offense is taken off. So everybody will be back tonight. Thanks for the break, Thanksgiving. And we've got the playoffs. I feel
Playoffs?
the calm before the storm. These playoff bids are going to be handed out. Hopefully, all the commissioners out there in one of my leagues, it's okay as a commissioner to say, "Oops, if you scheduled the playoffs to start this week and people are upset because 6 teams are on bye, it's okay to push the playoffs back or try to find a way to fix it." Because, like you've been saying all week, Cecil, 6 teams on bye and no, really,
No. Just no. All right. Just know that we love you and we appreciate you. And thanks everyone for jumping on early with us today in our early start time. Make sure to do all those YouTube things, like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. Until the next time, he is Sigmund. I am Cecil. We are the Audible. Be safe, be kind, know that you are appreciated. Stay tuned. And as always, stay frosty.